Hi. I have no idea if my mic sounds good. Why are you guys drowning me? Sounds normal? Really? Really? First try? This rinky dinky little fucking thing. Oh my god. I've missed streaming, but this has sucked to try and fix. It sucked so hard, guys. I hope everyone's week is going okay. I am here to bitch at length. So everyone fucking tighten their goddamn uh, grip on sanity. Yap sesh, a little bit of a yap sesh. So today I'm gonna actually change the. Or maybe I'll just turn it down a bit. I kind of want something that doesn't have lyrics background, just because that would be kind of helpful for my pitching. Thank you. No, thank you. Whoa, 45 streams. That's fucking too many. I can hear myself a little bit. Why? Uh-oh. 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 Something's gone wrong. Oh, found it. Monitor off. There it is. Thank God. My S's are a little whistly. Is that normal? Am I always doing that? 75 stream streak as well. Guys. You fucking hell. I can't believe I've been streaming that much. You guys are both incredible, and I am so lucky to have you both as creeps. You fucking bastard lovelies. Okay, I'll drink. God damn. I don't think I've missed one. I don't think you have either, which is like a little concerning. I remember when I said I'd suck your dick for each time you watch my streams. I was joking. I just feel now at number 75 I should clarify that I was joking. Hang out that much, but life is life. I think you've been here like since the beginning. Like I promise you, the streak numbers are incredible and impressive. But like you are just as much a valued creep as much as anyone else, and I'm always appreciative to see you. And life has been lifing for you. So, moved my desk, knocked the little audio box thing off the side of my fucking desk. The USB part like came out of it a bit, and I was like, ooh, that's probably not great, but maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine, she said. And then I plugged it back in, and a light came on. I was like, oh, okay, she's fine. No mic. No mic, won't work. Don't know why. Okay. Cool. Very cool. That's me tapping on it. The only thing that number says is that I don't have a life outside of Twitch. True. Very true. So I was like, whatever. If they have a return policy, I'll buy a new box. They do have a return policy. I was like, cool. I buy a box. It's a box for guitars. I'm like, guys, it's an audio interface. How different can they fucking be? Very. I sound like shit. I sound like absolute garbage, and no matter what buttons I click, it will not fix. Okay, cool. I go back, I find another used one. I say, this one, please. And they say, okay. And I take out my phone to pay for it. What are you waiting for? I was promised to suck for every streak, so now I kind of want my money back. Ooh. I I'd offer for you to talk to my complaints department, but that was just you with a gun. So, I don't really know what to do about that. But anyway, the thing I tried to buy, I was buying with my phone because I lost my wallet, which is awesome timing. And they were like, it won't work. Like, okay. And I'm just kind of waiting. Okay, dog sweaters. Okay, I see your ass. Strip. If you are gonna emotionally lean on us and bitch about your life, you're gonna strip. Okay. You know what? I'll remember this moment. Bork. Hello, dog sweaters. It is good to see you. Yeah. I'm like, huh. Gosh, golly, that sure sounds like a thing that, like, normally I would expect you to solve. And they're like, you have a card at home? Like, no. A true creature of culture. This is true. This is true. No, like, ugh. They just kind of stare at me blankly. Like, okay, I guess I'll go ask my girlfriend to use her card. I come back. Each of these times I say I come back is 25 minutes of my life, by the way. Because I live kind of far away from things now. Living on new place is cool in a lot of ways and really shitty in a lot of different ways. So I go back and I try and pay for it in card, and they're like, oh, well, it can't leave today. The fuck you mean it can't leave today? I need it today. That's why I'm buying it today. That's why I came back with the other one, saying it didn't work, and I want to buy a different one, because I need one now. Today. And they're like, we just bought it. What fuck does that matter to me? Just buy it. What'd you buy it for? To look at it? Or to sell it? Sell it! Sell it to me. So, I don't know why that's their rules, but that's their rules. I was like, fine. Do you have a new one? What do you have? They're like, you can buy a new one, it's $180. No. Do you have a cheaper new one? We have one that's $100. It looks like a Lego piece. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm like, fine, whatever. I buy it. They're like, do you want the fucking warranty? I'm like, fine, sure. Because I realized the old one that broke had a warranty, and I tried to cash it in, and they're like, yeah, it went out of date next month, so you're just in time. You can get that. I'm like, awesome. And then they give me a number, and they don't explain any more about it. So after I've bought this new one, I go back to them, or like I just continue that conversation. I'm like, so what do I do with this? They're like, oh yeah, go online, go to the Concern Center thing, call the number, they'll give you your money back. I'm like, oh, sick. In a gift card. I kind of bought everything I needed to buy from you today. I would have loved to know that I give back in a gift card before I fucking bought the warranty for the new one. But that's fine. Stores like that tend to temp hold products sold to them just in case they end up being stolen. Oh. Okay, that makes some sense. Hi, Elta. Hi, Elta. Hi. I'm gonna complain about a lot of things today. Let it be said, for the record, that I do not actually hold any ill will towards the employees or the business. Like, they were fine. They functioned fine. It was just a very, very annoying couple of days. And I wanted to stream Saturday, and I didn't. And I've been, like, short streaming in general. And I just want to bitch about it, because I become a little closer to seriously telling my job to go fuck themselves because I was getting frustrated. But if I talk about it, I become less frustrated. So I'm talking about it. Can we also bitch? I would love if you also bitch. It would make me feel less bad. Talk about your ISP, I beg of thee. Tell me who I can throw a brick through the window of. rapidly approaching their location as I type. That's fair. That's fair. It seems like they're kind of given. They were. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Spooks! I'm not playing guitar. Go fuck yourself. How am I doing? Rough. But I am here and I have a functioning mic. So, less rough than I was 20 minutes ago. How are you doing? I've been playing with a new ISP, but the install isn't scheduled till next week. Next week is sooner than I was worried. So I'll take that shit. I'll take next week. Actually, I want to continue listening to this bit. I'm gonna listen to this album. Some Midwest emo, some Zelda themed Midwest emo. We love that. So yeah. Druid! Hi. I was doing good until I realized VOs are now 1K. Hey, inflation comes for us all, but at least someone's coming. I'm gonna go look really quick on the internet. Because on my VOD channel, you know, we missed a lot of VODs. We continue to miss a lot of VODs. It sucks, but, you know, the ephemeralness of life is forever something else poetic. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Ooh. I'm not signed in on my own fucking computer. Why is that? Yay, coming! That's what I thought. Might want to turn Spotify down? Oh. Got it. Today, the business let go someone it should have just reassigned because they were a good developer? Damn. That's pretty brutal. Is that gonna create lots of problems for you? Or are you just kind of watching them screw themselves? Damn, I thought I wrote the date of when this stream was. But I guess I didn't. Sorry, I was looking at the very first VOD video. Because I wanted a specific date when I complained about this thing. But for whatever reason, Midwest Zelda is a touch louder than what we were listening to. Very strange. Very, very strange. It also might be that it's leaking out of my headset phones and into the condenser mic. That is definitely what's happening, actually. I can see it happening. I have new headphones that are sound canceling, and by new, I mean new to me. But they need some repairs. They need some light repairs, and I bought a thing to repair them, but I haven't had the chance to do it in a sec. Oh my god, it's V! It's Social Club TTV. How you doing? Good to see you. It's been a sec. Used to be my boss. Oh, so you're getting a new boss? That's rough. That's rough. First stream I was featured in is one of the VODs. Is it? Which one? Which one? Were you there since the beginning? I think the first one was nigh a test stream. Yeah, mostly fam. I didn't know you knew Cap. Oh yeah. Aw shucks, I didn't know you found V through me. Was it the one Vapor collab? That one was so fun. Yeah, me and Cap are besties. We have a Baldur's Gate game going, which you wouldn't know about because Captain's ISP is in need of a fucking mafia style conversation. Had the new boss for a while. He's good. They just did my boy dirty. I see. Okay. It was before that. You raided him to V one night and we hit it off over Tarkov. That does sound like you two. So I love Baldur's Gate. I'll watch you play. Aw shucks. We might start a new campaign. Me and Captain have been scheming. Scheming, I say. Captain, if we were to do a new campaign, what class would you start with? Steamy. Oh, or we can just fuck instead. That also works. How busy am I next month? What's next month? Oh, what a good segue, V. I will be taking a week vacation next month. I will not be able to stream. My family is going on vacation. It is our first ever overseas trip. I have never been overseas before, so it'll be really fun. I am possibly doing a children's charity. Ooh, well, if it's not during that week and you want assistance and that's why you asked, I would be down. I just zoned out totally fucking hard there. I've been too many times, just overseas in general. Sick of the ocean? Icarus! You know what? It's slightly more closed than before, so I'll take it. There's different answers for all three. We love being bad at things. Oh my god. The abuse. You're gonna abuse me while I'm in this cute little dress? Ooh, I went to the mall and I tried on a dress. It'd been a while since I tried on a dress, so I was hoping it didn't make me feel too rough. But it was pretty cute. The only problem is it had like this kind of like had this like scrunchy top and then also like straps that look like fucking apron straps. I felt like a fucking 1950s housewife. I felt like I should be baking sugar fucking cake for the Great Depression. I've been overseas a lot, government work and traveling. Oh, well, that's less than exciting than vacation. You can't really fucking check out the sights on work trips. Sorry, so I don't catch your streams as often. I'm usually streaming, but today I threw up. That's totally fair. Never any judgment over that kind of thing. I'm always happy when I can see you, and I hope I can keep you happy when you see me. Why the fuck are you throwing up? Stop that. That shit's bad for you. That shit's supposed to keep inside you, you silly bean. I do hope you feel better soon. I am actually kind of excited for that vacation. Fuck, I gotta find my passport. That's a thing I gotta do. That'll happen though. That'll turn up. I live and I'm happy now. Miss certain countries. Oh? I will be sure to take lots of pictures for you all so we can have a vacation recap once I come back. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll make a little presentation. I'll make a slideshow. Time I made it stream, you called yourself a fan of mine, and Undominable was a great thing to riff off of the Moth character. I did say that, and I was correct. Whoa! Steal my femboy? Who's the femboy? Asterion? Probably. Asterion feels pretty mask. Is that a hot take? He's just queer. Also, any fellow Shart enjoyers in chat? I love my emo girl. Let's go! Eden, I knew you'd have my back. I knew if anyone was gonna have my back, it'd be you. I both like and dislike her. Valid. Could be, but he's like a sub in my eyes. Don't know why, but could always see Cap getting a huge tall tiefling. We do all love Bazel. Who is Shart? Shadowheart. Oh wait, Tiefling. I'm thinking of the Gith Yankee. Tiefling is Karlach. And Muscle Mommy is Mommy. I don't know. I have trouble. I both am head over heels for Karlach and also like can't help but friend zone her in my heart. That's it. Is that crazy? Asterion also gives me the vibe of a man that got the good ending when he went through his twink death era. Now elaborate on that, because that whole sentence was madness. Imaginary madness. When he does a good bean run on me, I don't know if I fucking tried. You failed, but we appreciate you trying. I understood. You're all speaking in tongues. And none of them are inside me, so I don't get them. How many people like Dark Elf Lady? Minthara? I've never been in a position to interact with her. I saved her in Act 2 in a solo game I was doing, but I stopped playing for a while. Down, Undominable. You cannot pop in as soon as tongue is mentioned. You are part of the fucking, not the pregame. What's pre-gaming but for sex and not alcohol? What am I thinking of? What's the word? Foreplay. Hot elf clerics in your area, am I right? She is a half elf, thank you. Foreplay. Yeah, foreplay was the word. Thank you. Thank you. Elta, I'm beginning to learn your type, and it's becoming deeply amusing and frightening to me. I just feel like there's a connection between Minthara and, Cold Ice Hades Woman. Is it Demeter? Demeter? Or the fuck you pronounce it? I am Helty's type. Hey. I can't blame you for dreaming. I say the same thing to myself every night when I go to sleep. Take talk to animals so they could call the dog a good boy. I love taking talk to animals. The conversation with the bear that Volo is talking to is hysterical. I don't know, I just love dialogue. So like every time fucking there's a spell that's like, do you want to talk to more people? Yes. Yes, of course I do. I bought the fucking talk to people game. Give me more talk. I'm not dignifying that with a response. You guys have totally distracted me from complaining. Which is good. But I do want to say, we, and by we I do mean I, totally missed my 1 year of streaming. And that's not even to mention my affiliate anniversary, which I don't even fucking know when that is. So, we are just gonna kind of put it off, unfortunately. The split shift job is really fucking killing me, but I have so much credit debt so I kind of have to continue doing it. It means streams are like this, but you know, I think I'm just getting frustrated because of a combination of things. A lot of unpacking. The job is taking way too much like time. A lot of other stuff is like getting in the way of streaming, and more than streaming, improving streaming. I haven't been able to work on like just another like emote or something, or like anything for a while, and it's bumming me out a bunch. And I miss you guys, and I miss making new things for you guys that we can fuck with, besides just starting new game series, which is always fun, and I do really enjoy it. But I just want to say that I hope you guys don't feel that I'm like, I know you won't. I know you won't feel that way. Let me rephrase before I even say it. I get worried that I'm like looking like I am coasting off of you guys, which I never ever ever want to do. I always want to be trying to do cool stuff for you, more than just like hanging out. I like hanging out. I love hanging out for you. I love streaming for you. But like I want things to be consistent improvement, you know? So it hasn't happened in a bit. It will continue to not happen for a bit, but I hope you know I'm definitely thinking of it. And we will at some point have big celebrations for milestones. We will have new emotes and stuff. We'll have more art. We'll have new model. We'll have all the fucking stuff in the world. I know hanging out is good. I know you enjoy it, and I appreciate that you enjoy it, and I appreciate that you're here. But I just want to make sure I say it out loud that I do have plans still. I do have events and things in my brain. I do have like gifts and stuff in my mind. So, and that will still all happen. It will just be, you know, a little bit. Hold on. I saw a chat that said, I know a furry, and I had to go back immediately. Who said, and I quote, we need more bear romance. Is one not enough? Well, but you were actually structuring yourself and taking care of yourself. Aw, shucks. Thank you. You're all very, very, very sweet. We get to things when we get to things. Yeah, and I'm good at saying that for like a month. And then as soon as it stretches beyond a month, I'm like, this is my nightmare. But, you know, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. And I appreciate y'all. My viewers said that about the bear. I don't believe them. I don't believe them. Do they mean more fucking Halsin as a bear or more bears? Who's your favorite bear character? Ask them that. They all have names. Don't and make sure they're not looking at the fucking wiki, because they will. Because they will. Because they don't know their favorite bear characters. They don't know that their favorite bear character is looks at the fucking wiki. Whatever bear Volo was talking to. Actually, no. That's a good bear. But no, he's really good. The one by the water is, I don't know. I love someone poetic. I love someone who's a bit poetic and a bit weird and a bit like, I'm just gonna fuck off. Good thing me to do next time. Oh god, Helta's infected V. I still need to finish Baldur's Gate. Same. Same. Fucking same. If you have Downies, I'ma kiss you. I'm having Downies. What the fuck? I puckered up at everything. I even puckered up my mouth lips too. Never mind. That's it. Captain, we gotta get on call again. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Okay. We miss you. Tell your ISP to hurry the fuck up. Sending you voice messages? Please. Please do. I'm glad it's cute and wholesome, V, because I was really worried that tonight's stream was gonna be 30 minutes of me whining at you guys. And I feel like I got some heartfelt complaining out of the way. And I feel like you understood my meaning. You know, like, I appreciate everyone comforting me, of course. But, like, sometimes when someone comforts you immediately, there's, like, a small part of your brain that's like, are they even fucking listening to what I'm saying? But, like, I don't feel that way about you guys, which is exactly what I fucking needed. And I hope, and I'm glad it's... I don't know. I'm glad for all of you. You guys are incredible. You guys are genuinely fucking incredible. And you are, you make me want to do so fucking much. And I'm sorry that it has to wait until I have the means. But at some point, I will have the means and I will have for you a fucking show. A fucking show and a half. It will not just be the cum room in the middle of fucking Russia. There will be skits, there will be videos beyond just like shorts. I'll do more interviews. I really want to do more interviews. I think about that shit all the time. I write down little notes for the people I want to interview of fun little bits I can do. 12-hour Saturday stream? You bet your sweet, delicious asshole. 12-hour Saturday stream. Yeah. Speaking of 12-hour streams, next week, on Saturday. Oh wait, that might already be the stream. Okay. Well, maybe Friday into Saturday I'll stream more. Maybe it'll be a 24-hour stream. It's my birthday. Surprise! I don't know who knew that, who didn't know that. Anyway, I'm gonna try and stream a whole bunch for my birthday, and I'm gonna I don't know, make it a thing. I'm gonna try and make it a thing. Yeah, and you already got me my gift. Speaking of, oh, thank God you're here, Helta. Hey, do you remember how I occasionally ban you for 2 weeks because you do something stupid? No. Don't leave. Come here. Sit. Good. Helta. Hey, Helta. Where is the beautiful Tia art of Helta? You got 2 pieces of art for her of me. I assume that you also got... It's in the works? Okay, good. You were in so much trouble if you only got Art of Me. You were in so much trouble. Okay. Okay, we're chill. We're good. I love you. I'm excited to see it. God, that art is so good, by the way. If you're not in the Discord, it is in the Artists Are So Fucking Cool channel, and it is... Tia's art is fucking wonderful. If you could eat it, you would die of an orgasm. Does Helty get a kiss? Of course Helty gets a kiss. Tia's so fucking good. Tia's amazing. Tia's funny. Tia's an amazing singer. Tia's an amazing artist. Guys, if you're not following Tia, you're out of your fucking mind. As long as I'm doing commands in the chat. Fucking incredible streamer. Absolutely fucking incredible. Cannot recommend enough. You know, actually, Twitch recommended her to me. She was among the first... She was the first big VTuber, and by big I mean over like 30 to 40 people watching concurrently that I felt comfortable chatting in, and immediately just like so sweet to talk to. Maybe I am best wingman. We'll see if Helta's short-circuiting back there, or is just like meh, whatever. Now if Moth in a bunny suit kissed me, then swoon. She draws dogs and sweaters. She does. I need to watch more Tia. Tia deserves the fucking world. I didn't see her new cover photo. What the fuck even is that? She's also friends with two other streamers that I really like, Onikana and Eros Banshee. It's just Eros, I think, but everyone else had last names, so I felt weird just saying Eros. Yeah, there's so many streamers that, like, I wish I could watch more. I haven't been able to sit and watch, like, Ray's streams in a hot minute, or Hoya, or I've gotten to watch Nixie stream. Yeah, I just haven't gotten to watch streams or sit at all. I've been unpacking. I've been doing shit. Speaking of, guys, we kind of gotta wrap up already. I know it sucks. Vive's gonna be doing some Twitch streams soon. I'm excited to see her do art. I know one. I know Vivi Axolotl, but I assume that's not who you're talking about. Do I know this, Vive? All I do is watch stuff in the walls. Real. I just hate mobile. I have a little list of birthdays in my Discord server. Very cute. I write them down in my calendar app. Otherwise, I will absolutely forget about them. I still sometimes forget about them, but I like having them. Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone gets me too extravagant, if anyone gets me a birthday gift, you're already in trouble. If you get me an extravagant one, I'm banning you for a week. Helta, I hope you heard that. I had to celebrate my birthday in the dark because of the storm. Brutal. Absolutely fucking brutal. Captain, do you want to do a dual birthday stream? Did you do a birthday stream? I think you did. Sorry I can't hear anything. Do I preemptively ban her, guys? Do I just kill her? Kill her in the streets like the dog she is? We could have tongue. We could have an all-tongue birthday stream. First Fainsley stream is both of our birthdays. We'll play strip poker, but both behind fucking models so that nobody knows or cares what's going on. We just get a little colder. We just get a little more uncomfortable. You occasionally hear the sticking of our ass to whatever kind of seats we have. I actually have a blanket over my seat because I didn't like the mesh made me cold. It's like just nothing mesh. Ah, Wind Waker. You know, I have mixed feelings about Wind Waker. Some people, I know a lot of people disliked it at the time because I think it was like one of the first Toon Link games, if not the first. But like looking back on it, obviously I like it more. Some people look back on it and think it's an absolute fucking masterpiece. I still think the main quest drags a bit in the middle. But besides that, it's wonderful. It's absolutely fucking wonderful. You need a place to sit? I'm right here. I'll take it under consideration. Now, we were supposed to do that collab I was planning, then the power went out the week before. That's right. That's right. That was a little brutal. As your birthday is coming up, I'm gonna need to get you something. You better not. Unless it's a goodnight kiss. Unless it's a good morning French. I'm trying to think. I think, unfortunately, my favorite Zelda game is probably Breath of the Wild. That's a little bit of a basic answer. I wish I could say something more interesting. Ocarina of Time is, of course, great and a classic. Twilight Princess holds a special place in my heart, and I still really want to replay it. But Breath of the Wild just nailed so much really cool post-apocalyptic shit that I love. And then, you know, Tears of the Kingdom came in and ruined it. But whatever. I haven't finished Tears, so I technically can't complain that hard, but like, woof. If consideration is what you call your ass, then I'm glad you're putting me under consideration. That was brutal. No, don't encourage him, Druid. I love positive reinforcement. That's cute. That's fucking adorable. I do have a funny, fun teehee idea, but I have to ask if you'd prefer something for Mother's Day or for Pleasant. So I'll need to skim through your character stuff for references. For Moth, not Mother, curse you, iPad. The prophecy is fulfilled yet again. I was wondering. I figured it was wrong, but I was wondering. For Moth or for Pleasant? Moth is gonna have the... am gonna have the official art. I can send you the official character reference. I can send anybody the official character reference. The only... There's a part of it, though, that's not quite done yet. Do I keep it secret? Do I keep it secret? Oh, was that the whole playlist? Did we listen to the whole thing? Oh, we did. Huh. Okay. Well, let's try a different album by them. There's a second Zelda tape. It'll be funnier if it's Pleasant. Go ahead then. Hey Mom, I know I'm a bad daughter, but can I get a date for that birthday? At the risk of encouraging more incest, yes, I'll go on a date with you for my birthday. Oh, you meant the day. Can't have shit. Ugh, my life is truly so much harder than everybody else's. I'm glad that one went over great. I was pretty proud of it. Oh, fucking hell. Amazing, amazing shit. Da-da-da. Please tell me how the next emote makes you feel for reasons. Okay. And you should be a little proud. We love our little stalkers. Oh, I came. I still need to catch that person's streams. They're so cute looking. And they have a 3D model, it looks like, which I love. Please don't bald me. Shit. 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 I know what Captain's getting me. I know what Captain's getting me. Big ol' cakes? Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, the person I was gonna raid is raiding out. You guys were too fun for too long. Bastards. Bastards. She's great? Yeah. She seems great. We're just too good. Winning, but at what cost? Wow. What an emote. That one's going in the spank bank. I try to make NSFW art for the birthday. I can't show it on stream, but I personally would be so excited. This doesn't sound like fucking Legend of Zelda music. This sounds like fucking Risk of Rain. Anyone else? Spooks, are you still here? It's the toe twitching that really does it for me. That's me. That's me as fuck. That's me every day. My cum is in the details. Yeah, that's a fair reaction to that. God damn you. No, don't. No, don't. No, don't. No. 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 Do not. Ray Serena? I was watching you. just whining. I'm... Don't tell me how to live my life! Everyone get ready. This is not gonna be fun. This is a bad stream. This is a bad stream for bad people. There is no good reason to... Thanks, Ray Serena. Thank you. Thank you. I love you. You sweet... Don't redeem that. It doesn't have a button yet. I have to go do it manually. You want your streamer to have to do work? Ugh. Gross. Okay. There's a magical girl skin that was redeemed. Oh god, and you can throw things at me. And Grim Reaper has followed me. Thank fucking god. I've had it on this Mortal Coil. Fucking take me in, Chief. I'm done. I'm cashing in my last check. I'm going for retirement. I'm going to Tampa. Nothing but townhouses, Steve. Shut. Hey, Roran, look behind you. Okay. I'm just gonna scam him. I'm just literally gonna scam him. How about that? How about I just don't shut up? How about he redeems it, spends 1 billion bribery points, and then I don't? Hi, everyone. I can't shut up. I just got raided by the Ray Serena. My flabbers are gasted. I'm swooning. I went on a date on a totally platonic and not
Here comes that bullshit, what up? 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 Watch him rolling, watch him
get the fuck out of here. Ah! Guys, we're listening to sad music. I've been bitching about my life. There's nothing interesting going on over here. Yes, you all can abuse me. You all can throw shit at me. Yes, it's so fun. It's so interesting. Bah, I tell you. Hey, how's your stream? How is Subnautica? How's being frozen in the ice? What's up with that? How's remembering that you can make lockers in the water and not just throw your quartz into the earth? Ray, you were keeping me sane in what was a deeply shit day for the last couple hours. Was fun? I'm very glad. It was, oh my god, Ray, the trials and tribulations that I've been through to make this fucking microphone work today. The Herculean fucking tasks that I've been through. That I drove fucking an hour, a 20-minute thing. Hey, storm stress? Why are you stressing? Stop stressing. It's apparently creating storms. That shit's bad. Thanks for the follow. We love stalkers in this chat. I drove back and forth so many fucking times for a fucking audio input thing that they were like, oh, well, you can't pay for it with your phone. I'm like, I only have my phone. I don't have my wallet. And you may ask, Moth, don't you have a driving job IRL? Why don't you have your wallet? To which I respond, what are you, a fucking cop? Why are you asking so many fucking questions? Anyway, I don't have my wallet, so I drive back. I borrow Small Gray Cat's, my lovely girlfriend's wallet. I take it back, and they go, oh, well, it can't leave today. Why the fuck do you think I drove back and forth today? I need it today. And they said, go fuck yourself, actually. That's what they said. They said that to me. Then they licked me. They licked me and they licked my nose and they said, I own you now. Sit down and bark. They did that. Look, Druid's doing it now. Druid remembers. She's going through fucking the flashbacks, the thing, the words that mean the things. Guys, hi, I'm Moth. I'm a cryptid VTuber. Oh, I know, so original, so fun, so clever, so cute. But what if there was a second character who sounded exactly the same and you couldn't tell when she was on screen? Huh? A great idea, you say? I thought so too. I'm pleasant. I wrote Moth, and we can talk about Moth or fuck up her character. I don't know. I'll rewrite her backstory right here, right now, for money. I can be bribed. I can be bribed to ruin my own bit. Also, because I changed, I don't have the button to change myself back to Magical Mothron. Shh, shh. Nobody tell. Nobody tell. Nobody tell whoever redeemed that. Rowan, thanks for the kiss. Next time use tongue if you really want something out of me. For now, you just get a good pat on the head and my deep appreciation. We are parasocial here. That's our whole fucking vibe. God damn it, dog sweaters. Captain, your redeem got overwritten. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. Here, I'll change to the that was the wrong button. I'll change the dress and then I'll change to the other thing. There we are, that's what we have. You forget to switch a lot? Forget is a strong word for absolutely scam the fuck out of you guys. Or perhaps a soft word. Also, follow this cute goober, everyone, and draw her. Don't draw me. Don't draw me. Oh, I can talk about events. That's a thing streamers do when new people come. Hey, are you coming right now? First of all, gross. Don't talk about that. That's against TOS. Second of all, it's my birthday next week. Why don't you come over there? I'll be so sticky. I don't like how long this bit has gone on. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore everything that's come out of my... No non-parasocial makeouts? I know. Well, you know, for you, the world. But for everyone else, it has to be totally parasocial. You gotta think you know my ass. The person that you imagine me to be better be hot, better be fucking good at everything. What about me? Captain, we're married. What the fuck are you talking about? Captain, you have a prostate exam next week. But yeah, we'll be doing like a 12 to 24 hour birthday stream next Friday into Saturday. So come on by. I will have more energy because A, I will be hopped the fuck up on caffeine and ideally booze. And I will not have just recently fought the desire to roll my fucking butch vehicle into an embankment wall to kill again in Minecraft. Oh yeah. About that age where I should get my prostate checked? I'll do it. I don't know what I'll find in there, but I'll root around. If I think I'm parasocial, I would tear out my own heart? That's not dramatic at all. That's probably the only reasonable way to go about it. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, I was about to raid you fuckers into Ray Serena, because she's like my favorite streamer. She's so cool, so funny, so pretty, such a good artist. Oh my god. And she can't ban me for saying nice things about her right now, so maybe I think I'll go on. She's incredibly caring. She's been there for me every step of the way, my VTubing career. She's helped me get to this point. She's a gem. I think everyone should talk about how great Ray is right now, while she can't do anything about it. Yeah, you used to be a mod. I don't know why you're not. Probably because I timed you out for the funnies at one point. Redeemed. Oh, okay. So you drowned me. I see. No amount of getting me wet will stop me from praising you. Okay, that's a lot of wet. Your shut up redeem is out, and I scammed the person out of it. Oh shit, wait, is Roran still banned? Someone should unban Roran. Can someone do that? I don't know how to do that. Rhea's sword again? Oh shit. Oh shit. Whoa! Full circle! Ray saved Roran in my own chat. Roran, I don't know if you're still here, but I love you and I'm sorry. And Ray can now kill whoever was complimenting her, so fucking watch out. Is that me? Twitch gets very angry when you try to ban yourself in your own channel. They email you. Jeff Bezos emailed me. He emailed me a picture of my house and said, hey, I will buy a nuke. How long did the timer run out for? I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just clicked it. I was just clicking buttons. Sword fight. Everyone put their penises away. Please. Oh, you meant with swords. Sorry. Please continue. I can't remember who it was I timed out for 1.5 million seconds. Yeah, because they never came back. They took someone came in, they took the first, second, and third redeem, and Captain went, you fucked with my silly little bit, and killed them. Killed them dead, and I haven't seen them since. They had shown up twice. They were on their way to being a regular of the community, and Captain went, not on your fucking life. You killed our silly little bit. You die. I bet there's a way for me to make sure that people can't do that, but I just love that some things are just like, yeah, you can do it. You'll fucking die. But you can do it. Like... Who would do something like grab all the check-in redeems? Oh shit, was it you, Pyro? Pyro, was it you? Were you the one who got shot? Welcome back. We love you. No, not on here? Okay, good. Roran! You're alive! Roran, if you weren't already VIP'd, I'd do it to you just to make sure, because you deserve it. Ray, if you're still here, please, you do not have to stay. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Thank you so much for raiding me. I do appreciate you, despite how much I complain about it. And I hope you have a wonderful night. I do have to find somewhere to put you, assholes. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna end. This was literally just a start stream, bitch about my life, and then end stream type shit. But tomorrow, I will be back here playing Hades. Losing, very likely. Which we love. Oh, hi, Milo. Are you begging? Scammer? Captain, do me a favor and give Roran their points back. I hope you ate. I haven't been taking my meds. I no longer have health insurance. Price. But food, I ate a banana and something else. Ah, I got a taco. I got a burrito. I got a little burrito from Taco Bell because it was free. Hey, me too. We love bananas. We love a little deep throat in between the boys. I must shower and eat, but will be lurking. I love you and your bits. I love you so much. Genuinely. Thank you so much for being around. You're a gem. Have a good shower. Yay, I get to keep the crystal. Everyone's a winner tonight. I have been a terror on Ray's one a couple times. The last one was to establish dominance on someone who thought they could grab him faster. Ray's a benevolent and kind soul. And it's the reason you're alive here today. I just love putting Captain in front of shit because he's just kind of a vengeful god. And I fuck with that vibe so much. Why does the channel point list go oldest to newest? Oh, that is kind of bullshit. By the way, if you pay Captain in 50 gifted subs, he will redeem every point redeemed that exists. And I never redeem any of them. They're all there ready to be refunded in the last like year. So just so you know. Our economy's in fucking shambles. As in pay Moth? Don't pay Moth. Moth won't give you shit. Moth will laugh as you waste money. Sorry, I just realized kind of see my bloomers if I crouch the wrong way. Y'all can thank Rue for that one. Shrimp! I'm shramped. I've been shramped. No one shramps it like me. There, it should be refunded. Druid came, so you might have refunded the wrong thing. That's how I brided Cap. Cap, you two-timing bitch! I was giving you 50 gifted. I know, I just don't like that. I would prefer you bribe Captain. Undoubtable, you try that shit again, you will go in the hole so fucking fast. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. Ba-dum. Ba-da-da-dum, bum. I'm looking around. I'm giving a skim through who's streaming currently. Which one of your holes? Okay, hey now. Hey now, that broke my model. I don't know why it broke my model, but it did. Why, you fucked my whole shit up. Hey, both of you quit. What the fuck are you doing? Who do you think you are talking to? Guys. Guys. Hey. Hey. Thanks. Thanks. Quit it. Try to catch you with a bug mat or Pokeballs? That does sound kind of cute. We can't hear you? Yeah, you guys, oh no, wait, you did? No, my condenser mic is still going. Are you sure? No, you're fucking with me, I'm being fucked with, I'm being fucked, Hey guys. I gotta get you guys the fuck out of here before you keep doing whatever it is the fuck you think you're doing. Ooh. Sick of ya. I'm sick of ya. You guys want to watch an artist? You guys want to watch a quiet art grind and then some games? Get cherished, idiot? I would sooner die. I wouldn't sooner die. Thank you guys. You're all very sweet. Oh my god, you're doing it more! I'm rating you out. I'm rating you out. I'm not thanking you. That would only encourage you. Is this /raid or exclamation mark raid? I don't know how to fucking do this shit. I was recommended this person by another streamer that I really like. The streamer recommended her as Anfia. Anfia is lovely. She should definitely be... Stop it! We're raiding out. We're raiding out. Copy a raid message, you fucks. You fucking nightmare people. If you don't have my emotes, replace them with your own. Or someone else's. I don't know. Yeah, or do yaoi in the chat, I guess. You could also do that. I love boys kissing. Join the Discord if you want to know when I'm going live or you want me to steal your jokes to make me funny. I'm going to shout out the person who recommended Ambly, Bambly, because I like them too and I want to, I wanna, don't fucking ask me, don't at me for anything ever again. I appreciate you, I love you, get the hell out of here, stop fucking giving me shit. I appreciate you, love you, bye, bye, I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, bye, 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 bye. Ray, you showering bastard, get out of here, get out of here, go on, I'm walking here, shoo, shoo. Bye. It's completely silent raid out, completely silent raid out. We absolutely love. The music stopped. Why would we need music? I can't click raid now for some reason. We're just sitting here. We live like this. We absolutely live like this. I'm gonna click the show starting music. Whatever shows up, shows up. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Hey! Bye!